Say you they did. They did. Yeah, maybe. That's definitely a theory. On the classic Marcus bus asset, there they sit, the tally marks, and it says Vault Hunter, so maybe? Love this. This is in the complaint department.
Welcome to my humble shop.
You were fun, Flacker. I'm glad we got a hold of one. You know, this is the final hoorah because they're being really generous in this DLC. There's all kinds of loot.
Don't have too much fun.
Only one I'm worried about. Only achievement I'm worried about right now is the Evanescent one. Because I went ahead and got us a shield and a gun and a grenade. Yeah. And none of those things popped in here.
Wonderful news. I've discovered a
Meaning we have to farm for all of it.
Imagine what we could learn
And I'm
from it.
gonna be off here by around midnight.
Already sent the Vault
Because I gotta wake
Hunter
up early
to
and run
destroy the
errands.
chamber. Destroy it? First you deny me a plant monster army.
Oh,
and now
you even got
this.
Tannis trying to get you now.
I need the data from Jack's early experimentation on Angel for my sirentology studies. And yes, that is a word I made up, but all words are made up, so. You saw what happened to Angel and to me.
Here we
That
go.
information is
Ashton, are you here?
dangerous. We're going to
Here you go.
destroy it.
Here's the
All of
lines.
it. Keep going, Vault Hunter.
They're gonna talk about, I don't know if Ashton's here, but Ashton talked about like how sirens are made and stuff. This is where they're gonna talk about that Lilith was born a siren and Angel was made into a siren. He is not. Alright, well. It'll be on YouTube. When's Borderlands 3 coming out? Next week. Friday, September the 13th. Friday the 13th. I don't know if I would avoid the mojo of that date, but they've chosen not to. So, you know, Iridium will probably be like something you can pay money for, and there'll be all kinds of fucking bugs, and we'll all be very disappointed. Let's just hope that doesn't happen.
Consider this, Lilith. The more we know about sirens, the
Oh,
more
we're back
we
in
know
here.
about yourself. We still don't
Cage
understand
of
where
Angels,
these
that's
powers
cool.
come from or how they might manifest in the future. You of all people should see the value of that
I'm gonna
information.
pause. It's music.
Hold that thought. We're not the first ones to find this place. Vault Hunter, clear out those soldiers.
Let's hear this dialogue, because this dialogue's gonna be important. You think Jason's gonna be playing? Probably so. Are you gonna be playing? You say you're gonna have all kinds of Nora fleets in your Borderlands 3. I didn't know you were a big Borderlands guy, freak. In fact, in 8 hours will be officially a week away. Oh, you're a big. Oh, I see. Tales from the being a big Borderlands guy. I see.
Hector already sent his engineers to check out the equipment.
So are you getting
Can't
3
let
then,
them
freak?
get it. Fine. Do your worst. Just send me the data first. We cannot pass up this opportunity. Fine. Vault Hunter, do it.
Tannis is not what she seems. Shall we be doing this, Lilith? Tannis is not what she seems.
Receiving the data now.
It was
This place
wonderful.
brings up a lot of bad memories.
Nice. You got really deep into the
Even
game,
after
man.
Jack
You got hella far.
tortured me. I can't imagine what Angel must have gone through. A caged bird her whole life. She could have been so much more. So much data to analyze. Ah, delicious. Now you may carry on with your smashing. Let's tear this place down. Good riddance.
I'm not going into it quite yet.
Unsafe angel activity detected. Executing fallen angel failsafe protocol.
Ah, I will
No, I asked you that earlier,
Stay
Adam.
alive.
I don't think you were here.
Vault Hunter, you've got bots coming your way.
I'm sure we could Google it. If you're on a computer, do you mind, Adam?
Success.
Perfectly pristine angelic guardians. Well, they won't be making these anymore. I still want to know who's in charge of Hyperion. Is it Mr. Blake? I don't think that Mr. Blake's actually dead. I'm pretty sure he's still around. Mr. Blake. Next week. Alright, so they'll be launching reviews like on the day. Okay. Usually it's a meh sign. It's a really good sign if they let you review the game like a week ahead of time, because that means they're super confident in it. Like Destiny, when they hold it back all the way until the end, you just never know. But we'll just hope they're playing it safe. It could just be a 2K thing, playing it safe. I mean, the circuits usually run here, so I'm a little confused. We're not going to be able to get up there. Is it not these things? Oh, wait. We can get up there. Never mind. Man, they even got to reuse the, Oh, that wasn't quite as bad as tax season, though, Will, so. We could drive around the block, missing that obvious garage for 45 minutes. Even reuse the mission where angels refuse to tread. Sirentology. It's a cool name, though. Cage of Angels. Sucks, it's like such a cool name for one just really little space. This shit's gonna blow up, but I'm gonna try to get that chest. Oh, we're not gonna be able to. That sucks. How do you feel about that, Adam? That's pretty late embargo. Like Gears of War 5, they're letting the reviews already go out, which has been good for them because they've all been really, really positive, super positive. Verge called it spectacular. So, why is Borderlands holding off? If we're lucky, they'll come out like Monday. That would be a good sign. Is they're letting them out before official release. But if we have to wait until launch and a little after, it's usually not a great sign. Like, historically speaking with game launches, usually it's the games that they know are not going to get great scores that they hold back the longest. Who hacked these? Why are they hacked? They're still working for Hyperion. Well, Monday too, because the game might go in like July. It's been done for a while. So we might get some like, it's too stale, might be pay to win, might be really buggy. I mean, there just might be some stuff in there that just doesn't work. This is our nightmare scenario, Adam. This is our nightmare scenario that we've talked about. Is what if Borderlands 3 is shitty? What if Borderlands 3 is a bad game? What happens to Gearbox? After Battleborn, after the pre-sequel didn't do so good? I'm sure initial sales will be great. But what happens to Gearbox if Borderlands 3... What if Borderlands 3 is even just a meh? I mean, you're gonna get returns, though. GameStop's changed its return policy. You know, if they really, really mess it up, you can get you get Microsoft gives you one no questions asked refund a year. I don't think this is gonna happen, to be fair, okay? I don't think it's gonna happen. But I'm just saying as a thought experiment, what if? What if? Because it is possible. It is totally possible. Gets more money than gold and liquidates the company, builds a moon base, becomes Handsome Jack. I like it. I'll put that in the quotes, Will, so that was good. I mean, that's the question, though, isn't it? Would that be the end of Gearbox as we know it? Would that just be too many strikes in a row? Is Borderlands 3 their Final Fantasy? All or nothing? cost of progress. Interesting. Wonder who wrote this DLC. Wonder if they brought their new people in to write it. I mean, that can be part of it, but it's got to be more than that, right? It's got to be like the flak AI doesn't work. Iron Bear simply gets you stuck and your game freezes. Tons of crashes. Even though it's playable offline, it still requires like, you know, a connection to the internet for some strange reason. It could just be a bunch of dumb stuff. I mean, that one's a stretch. Let's go back, but let's just say Moze freezes the game up, that Zane's skills just don't work, that Amari is, if you try to do her action skill, it fucking also freezes your game. Like, just stuff like that would continue to add up. Shift not working on launch day and taking away all your bar. Like what happened with Xbox Live a few weeks ago. If you were playing Borderlands 3 when Xbox Live was down 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, you lost all your bar. So situations like that, because you got knocked off shift. It could be mad exploits, mad bugs. You would have to pay money to get Iridium. They could feel like the whole gameplay loop feels really tired, and they've already tried over it in Borderlands pre-sequel. Borderlands pre-sequel was like the one freebie. Alright, you already did an asset flip at Borderlands 2. How many times are you going to try to get away with it? I'm not saying this is going to happen. I don't think it will, nor close. But I'm saying it's a possibility. And if this happens, so you have all these things. Skills not working, game-breaking issues, the game freezing up, bar being reset, progress being reset, pay-to-win concerns. And people feel like it's basically just Borderlands 3, Borderlands 2 just brought to the model. Oh yeah, this is the Angel Room. I mean, judging from this DLC, that's definitely not going to happen. This DLC alone is a good indicator of that the future's bright. Is that the end of Gearbox, though? Is that the end of Gearbox? I mean, they're pretty they're spread out right now, right? They've got the Gearbox Publishing, which has had some successes. Fortnite, Risk of Rain 2. But they've got Gearbox Quebec, who's apparently making Brothers in Arms. They've even talked about returning to the Aliens franchise. I'm not sure how that'd go for them, but they've talked about it. And they're one golden goose, the franchise that really made them. I mean, they were around. They did some Half-Life episodes. They did some Half-Life 2 episodes. They did the Halo port. They did Brothers in Arms. Like, they've been around. They've been busy. But they were a small company. Now they're a big company. They've really expanded. And they've put a lot on the line. And apparently Battleborn didn't make money. You know, I don't know how. I would think they would at least break even or make a small profit. But everyone says it probably lost money, so whatever. So let's say I lost money then. Alright, not supposed to go there. I thought it would go into a jungle sequence. We Happy Few was pretty good too. The reviews sucked for it though, and it didn't sell well.
Hyperion hopes your death was a learning experience.
So, you know, that one probably cost them some money, especially since they're a fledgling publishing company. They're not EA. They're not Activision Blizzard. They ain't been in it. They have not been in the business for a while. It's been like 2 years. It was Battleborn. It was around the end of the Battleborn life cycle that they got into publishing. You know, EA's so big. All right, Anthem fails. Oh, Mass Effect Andromeda fails. Okay. I mean, our stock's still like $40 on the stock market. Whatever. You think they're going anywhere? No. We still own all these titles and licenses and franchises. Like, they're just so much bigger than that. They can take quite a few blows. Gearbox Publishing? They did that limited run on the Fortnite physical release, and now they don't handle it. They had Risk of Rain 2. We Happy Few was maybe a cult hit, maybe, but its initial reviews were really bad. Even Jimquisition gave it a really bad score, really bad. He doesn't do scores, but really bad press. So basically, just because it was super buggy. I think they've, you know, that was the big thing they did at PAX when they announced Borderlands 3 or E3 or whatever they were. I think it was PAX. I know they did PAX the Borderlands 3 announcement, but they had another show. They put another show on. It was the same show where they showed off what all they're going to be publishing this year. It was Risk of Rain 2 and like 5 other games. So yeah, they've got a lot going on right now. I mean, props to Randy. He's fucking built himself a hell of a business. But I think a lot of his business right now is going to be like, is Borderlands 3 going to be the fucking monster that Borderlands 2 was? And if it is, then that dude's been investing. He's been laying pieces down on the chessboard. But if it isn't, he's got a lot of pieces moving on the board. And little does he know that the queen got taken. You know, now he's going to move his queen in a position for check. And the other side of the board had already moved and positioned his pawns to take his queen. Queen being in this Borderlands 3. And the pawns about to take his queen and get rid of his check is the reviewers. And then, like we talked about yesterday, then what happens next is how the story runs. Let's take a middle of the road approach. Let's say that they're like Borderlands 1. Let's say it has a Borderlands 1 launch. Breathe in those spores, sniff it in. Let's say that there's a lot of mediocre reviews out there. A lot of 6s, a lot of 7s. A lot of 7s, to be fair, for Borderlands 1. Let's say there's a lot of 7s. There's the occasional 8 or 9. And there, every once in a while there's a 6. So it settles on the classic game industry score that we've all become cynical of, the 7 out of 10. Which is going to be tough because, you know, it's got to live up to this one, which is so hard. So hard. It's why you don't make a sequel to Kill a Mockingbird, because it's impossible. To Kill a Mockingbird is considered one of those American classic tales of literature. I mean, you're just not going to... It's another Huckleberry Finn. How are you going to top it? You're not. So you just do something else. That's kind of where they're at with Borderlands 2. Knowing that people have so much sentiment, good sentiment towards this game, and love it. You can talk to almost anybody who's a gamer. You know, they play Fortnite on their iPad, and they'll say, oh yeah, I Fortnite. I've Borderlands 2. It's a great game. Anyway, if it doesn't live up to the hype, it gets average reviews, then what will matter is where the narrative goes. Where does the news cycle go with Borderlands 3? Say that you do have to pay money for Iridium. It's farmable, but you can pay money for it, which means you'd be able to buy some of the best guns in the game. And therefore, it would be arguably pay to win. This is my big fear. And there is a number of bugs. And it's repetitive. A number of bugs and like bad ones too. Like if you try to do Iron Bear, you do lock up the game. The AI doesn't work for flak, like Adam said. That if Amari does her action skill, it makes the frame rate crash and potentially reset your Guardian rank.
Moonshot worked, Mordecai. And you're looking real bad.
Let's listen to the story first.
Your friend's infected. Excellent. That is to say, his condition is quite advanced, but not incurable. I need you to
How do you know the
bring
cure?
blood sample, or as we say in the
Please don't make me
scientific
backtrack.
community, that good red stuff.
They say that.
You ain't getting none of Morty's blood. Back off! I am a black belt master of Karate. Ha!
Tina, easy. And
These jokes aren't hitting me. These Tina jokes aren't hitting me.
You lucky this time, punk. Was about to Karate your ass in half.
Sounds nice,
I tried to distract him. Oh, hey, look. They managed to reuse the stim pack vial.
Oh, man.
Convenient how that came out. A needle just right out of his body.
You have the sample? Excellent. Make your way to me, and we will complete the
The
antidote
fucking is an
together.
epic goatee. Oh god, we do have to backtrack.
Even in the darkest times, Tina's enthusiasm is pretty infectious.
Why am I not
Maybe
infected?
that's not the best word to use right now.
Okay, from there, what will matter? But say there's a lot of good too. Say the end game is considered well done, robust, lots of stuff to dig into, and it's addicting. Say that when the game does work, like a good indie game, you know, or a really good AA game, a lot of problems, but a lot of strengths too that make it addicting. It's going to be tougher for Borderlands 3 to write on that, because it's like, that's pre-sequel style. A lot of negatives, but also a lot of strengths that go under Battleborn as well. What if that's what we get again? Is another game that has a lot of strengths, but it goes underappreciated in the moment? And what if they say that when the game does work, and the action skills work, these are the best characters they ever did, and they're really exciting, that the gunplay is great. If you don't mind that you're doing the same shit over and over again, the gunplay is really fun. Now, one of two things happens in that situation, in my opinion. First one is that someone like Upper Echelon goes viral, like happened with Anthem. Anthem, a lot can be learned from Anthem. You can get screwed by the narrative. Or you get someone like, I don't know, Baru or something. Somebody who loves the franchise. Their videos go viral instead, and they argue in favor of the game. That, combined with good early sales, should mean that Borderlands 3 is still a success. But so much will depend on whether or not there is a big fucking controversy to begin with. And if there is a big controversy to begin with, I'll tell you where the origin will be. In my opinion, it'll go right to 2K. Say you are able to buy Iridium, that's going to be straight up. You know, we need some of that NBA 2K money. CDR, Project Red, making Borderlands 4. It'll die there. It'll die there, Jeremiah. No one can do the franchise right except for Gearbox. It's their baby.
What a fool I've been. I assure you, I never intended to hurt anyone. Hector told me he dreamt of a better Pandora, a paradise.
They always say that, don't they?
I shared that dream, but not like this. Oh, the cost is too great.
I say if Borderlands 3 fails and Gearbox shuts down, because you see another studio making a Borderlands game of their own. Yes, but it'll never be as good. It'll never be as good. You have to have some core connection to the old game. So like the Coalition. The Coalition can make Gears of War because you still got Microsoft. And you still have the heart and the soul of the game. You still have Rod Ferguson. Pretty positive that's his name. Who was the lead creative guy behind Gears of War. Making Gears. You get 343. You gotta have money, you gotta have time, and you gotta have access to all the core that made the game great and gave the game its soul. If you have that, you'll do it. So say a bunch of like the Gearbox people make a new studio and decide to. I should be listening, but I'm not. Should that's the only way. Is if you had like a Respawn or the original days of Activision before it became what it is today. People who love the game and don't like the direction it's heading in and have been quietly building something behind the scenes are probably permaslag now and are able to get the money together through a publisher to rebuy the rights and make it. That's the only way I see that happening and being okay. Other than that, it'll be dead. It'll be dead.
That's when I realized if Pandora was going to become our paradise.
But I mean, my hot take is it's going to be a 10 out of 10. My hot take is you're going to see a lot of 9 out of 10s, a lot of 10 out of 10s. If it gets appreciated. There's going to be some of these new age reviewers that are going to say, why isn't it a fucking live service game? And they're probably going to give it a fucking 7 or an 8. But I see good scores ahead. I see good scores ahead. I think the struggle right now for Borderlands 3 in a really surprising way is that Gears of War 5 and the Gears of War franchise is so strong right now. And the story told in 4 was great. The story told in 5 was great. And it's launching now a week and just 3 days out from 3 days for the world and just a day for us on Game Pass with Gears of War 5. And it looks so mature as far as how it tells its story. And the motion capture looks so good. And the engine looks fucking great. And it just looks like it's going to have legs, which is super. I'm really happy about that. Said a million times today, I'm a Gears fan, but I think that in an ironic way, not even an ironic way, but just like a sleeper hit what kind of way is competition. It's being brought. This fall is full of good releases, and in the spring you get Cyberpunk. So They've got to bring it. This can't be mediocre. They've already got away with the pre-sequel. And so it sucks for them. It sucks for them. It's not fair. It's not fair. I'll be the first to say that. It's not fair that they should feel like their next game needs to be a masterpiece or else. But I feel like that is the truth. Call them millennial reviewers. It'll be a big question how a younger audience looks at it too. Like Adam and I, we were old school Borderlands. A lot of you were too. To be fair, you came in this guy Claptrap. This is dark, dude. You are Fragtrap again. We came into Borderlands back in 2012 and have been waiting 7 years for this. And there's very potentially a lot of the mechanics that we think are great have aged or not matured well, and even though I don't think they have, I mean, I think this is fundamental game design. I think it works. It's a looter shooter. It's an action RPG in a first-person game. But
Don't you worry, minion. Give me one good
that's the new voice. That is not David Eddings. That's the new Claptrap voice.
Just got some stuff to do first.
He sounds a lot more like Claptrap now, but this early takes, you can definitely tell a difference.
I had a great idea. Since Hector started a war, I'm thinking we try our hand at a bit of war profiteering. First, I
War
need to
profiteering.
take these very special chain blocks to the doll mine.
All right, so we need to make sure that we defeat Dark Web while we're doing this quest. Blockchain, block and chain.
Hector and his people are totally screwing up the Pandoran economy. So let's remake that economy in my image. The chain of blocks is the basis of my new economic model. Just go with me on this.
So what I mean by that is that Adam and I seem to look at Borderlands a lot differently than, say, Walter and people that came into it around the Handsome Edition. Which isn't insulting. It's just different, which is good. I've actually learned a lot by hearing different takes on it. But our feelings on it are, one, stronger, and two, like, really revolve around what this meta looked like, what the life cycle of the game looked like in its original form, 2.5-year process through the headhunters and all that thing. We've gone over it throughout this playthrough. We've talked about this a lot. That things started being nerfed and nobody knew what the future looked like, and Destiny was coming out and things looked ambivalent. We had to wait 7 years to figure out where the hell that future was going to go. They mentioned in 5 years of development. It means that they were developing this when this thing's life cycle ended, because they had a season 2 and it was called the Headhunter Packs, and they were active, and then it ended after that. But it's starting to sound like Claptrap from Borderlands 1. At least he's starting to sound more like Claptrap. But the people who came into it later they look at it less seriously. To them, it isn't like a revolutionary game like it was to us. Borderlands 1, when it first came out, was a big deal. This idea that you could loot and shoot. I know it seems so stupid now, but it really is the godfather of looter shooters. Like, it defined what it looked like, and it brought... Without Borderlands, you wouldn't see this unanimous system of loot and action skills and having a skill tree. It's just a genre blend. It's just a hybrid game, but once they did it, everybody started fucking doing it. It's why you see it in Wolfenstein. It's why you have the Division. It's why Destiny had all that. It's very basic trees, and it changed the world. So... yeah, I think one, you gotta pay respect to the original, and two, though, this is a weird year, man. Tool's got a new album, we're getting Borderlands 3. There's always the question as to, you pay respect to them, but can they still bring it? Can they still bring it? There's a lot of old-time, like, rock stars that will make a new album, and it just isn't there anymore. It loses the magic, like, the proverbial one-hit wonder, Deep Purple. I've never listened to a good modern Deep Purple album. The Danzig, I'm sure there's probably some good songs on there. There's some Black Sabbath albums that suck. It's possible. It's why it sucks when it's a very bittersweet thing, I imagine, to make an all-time classic. But Halo managed to keep up the hype, and Halo 3 is arguably the best Halo. You know, they're all very strong. They all have a lot of merits. There's a very good argument that can be put forth, though, really logically, that that's the best Halo. It's the most complete campaign, that it had fantastic multiplayer, that it pushed the 360 better than any other game. It ran well. It provided endless content. I loved Reach, but, you know, a good argument could be made that Halo 3 is like a definitive game. You've got to own that on the 360, and it was a game that managed to make good sequels. Gears of War 5 has managed to do it. That's why I'm saying it's not impossible for Borderlands.
Okay, now set up the chain of blocks right over there.
We're all believers. I'm just, you know, this is the day and the age of the fucking Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is the ultimate allegory for what video game development and what buying games can look like right now. You can't not buy games in 2019, I feel like, and not have at least a little bit of cynicism in you. If you've experienced Destiny, if you've experienced any of these live service titles, Fallout 76 of course, but you know, Fortnite, and it just goes on and on and on, Anthem even, sadly, you're gonna get cynical a little bit, and you're gonna, and I think this is kind of good, but we don't just blindly trust as one part of it. But two is lowering expectations.
The maneuver that'll put us on the path to paradise. Drop ships are prepped, plans are in motion. The men are raring to go. They haven't had a good fight in years.
I like this voice actor.
Oh, these Crimson Raider idiots have no idea what's about to hit them. Yeah, they might have been some of the toughest SOBs around once upon a time, but I think peacetime's dulled their edge. All we gotta do is take back our old ship, then the real fun begins.
This is Martin Sheen in the hotel room in Saigon. Every moment he's in that hotel room, he gets softer. And Charlie squats in the bush and he gets stronger. I remember being early adopter for a lot of my friends. Thought the game looked stupid and wouldn't work, and I let them play, and they were hooked. I'm with you, Adam. You and I have had a similar journey, and so have a lot of people. We've all been on this same kind of track, ultimately all the way to Borderlands 1, and we've split off. There's been a lot of splitting, some to Division, some to Destiny, and some other games in between, but there's that core Gearbox fan base that got built around Borderlands 1 and exploded with Borderlands 2. And when that guy says there's no hype, when these people are saying there's no hype, and they're not paying attention. Yes, there is a lot of hype. Everyone's, you know, on board for this. That's what I'm getting, is there's some people that are going to hold off, right? But the core Borderlands people or Gearbox people that didn't buy, you say they didn't buy Battleborn, or they didn't buy Pre-Sequel, or one or the other, they're going to come for this one. They were there for 1, and then they added more people for 2, and whether you played Battleborn or you played Pre-Sequel or not, you're there for this one. And just getting all of those people together for pre-orders alone is going to be huge. And then the game just has to deliver. It just has to deliver 80% of the way, which I know is unfair. Most games don't have to be quite that good, but in order for this thing to have the legs, while we're here, we have to kill Dark Web. I'm not sure if he just appears or what. Let me look. Got a cryptocurrency quest. You come to the earrings. Spider ones. One of them is named Dark Web. Okay. Oh, people. Yeah, mile long. Right. There's a core Gearbox Borderlands fan base that loves this franchise in particular, that will be there for the third one. The Pre-Sequel, you know, it's weird. Those games, it's weird that Battleborn and Pre-Sequel just didn't do very good compared to 1 and 2, but especially obviously 2. 2's the one that fucking everybody knows. Those people are getting 3. It's Halo 3. So that's one thing I will argue against it. I can't even throw a hypothetical out there. The idea that there's not hype behind 3. I don't see hype behind Iceborne. I didn't see hype behind Gears of War 5 until just like 2 weeks ago. Jeremiah, I'm guessing at midnight you'll be playing. Do you have Game Pass still, Jeremiah? I didn't see Gears till reviewers gave it super good reviews. Yeah, I wasn't seeing a lot on Twitter. I was looking forward to playing it. I was definitely going to play it regardless, but it's like overnight. Over the past 48 hours, I have seen this explosion of hype for Gears of War 5. It is all over my Twitter feed. It is all over my news feeds. That's the game people are talking about. Sorry. I kind of need to step up the pace. I can't, as I say, be on as late as I have been being on lately. I gotta get off earlier. I see Zero on Iceborne. Yeah, I saw a couple tweets, but it was like 1,000 likes, 1,000 retweets. Nothing really major. Where the fuck is Dark Web? Where is Dark Web himself? Does he just randomly spawn, or we're mining cryptocurrency? I am afraid to move much further forward. Without killing this guy. Yeah, but it's like not paid ads though, just straight up organic, people excited. I've seen Zed. I've seen something. I know something's gonna play Iceborne, but fucking Monster Hunter's old, dude. It's a year and a half. In game terms, that's a pretty old game, and they didn't really keep it going in between, you know? It wasn't like a constant, like in the Western market, you do the constant peppering of content to kind of keep it going. And our system's probably kind of broken. It's why we get these smaller DLC packs. But in order to keep people around, it's like constantly. There he is. Constantly got to be plugging shit in, keeping people looking, listening, watching. Yeah, we got it. This voice actor, though, you can really tell. Like it's Peter. I don't know who it is, but he was in Battleborn. I'm sure he'll do fine. I mean, this is serviceable. He's gotten a lot better. All the recent stuff with Claptrap's a lot better, but I can just tell it's different here at this opening sections. The Dark Web. Some of his group, he does a lot of variety. He did the voice for. Okay, yeah, I knew he was a Battleborn guy. A lot of the Battleborn people have fucking, dude, they've treated him right. The person who came in late into the Battleborn life cycle to become the community manager, she voiced the Calypso twins. Or voiced the main Calypso twin. What, Terra? I don't know. We'll learn their names, I'm sure, like the back of our fucking hand. And they'll probably become really popular, and Gearbox will be like, yeah, might as well bring them back. They ever make the Necromancer again for Borderlands 2? Like, is the Necromancer going to be around for Borderlands 3? Gage is not in Borderlands 3, they've confirmed that. They've not even gone into detail on where she is or what's going on with any of that. Kind of seemed like they weren't even prepared for those questions, honestly. I'm sure they know in the lore, but... Because I know that they've been building a lore bible. They've hired a guy here recently that apparently they found on the forums or Reddit during the Battleborn thing, actually. Another Battleborn person who did well. As they discovered a guy who actually had kept track of, like, all this shit. They hired him at Gearbox, and now he's been building a lore bible, so I'm sure they know where everybody is. No 2, the one you're playing for Xbox. What do you mean? The Necromancer was only ever on Borderlands 2. She was if you pre-ordered Borderlands 2, you got Gage the Necromancer. She was an OG character. Not considered the core group, but you know, a DLC Vault Hunter. She wasn't on Borderlands 1. Or pre-sequel, is that right? Well, that'll be interesting then. That'll be interesting. I was like, what the fuck, man? He sounds like Isaac, like Claptrap. He loves that Oscar Mike thing. He's even always really like active during Battleborn Day. Still, so I hope we get a lot of Battleborn Easter eggs. Gage was in the Holodome. It's interesting. So I guess we'll get to hear whatever is said about that next week. Maybe even Sunday, depending on what we do. Whether I decide to try to run through Gears or stay focused on this. Looks like it would hit hard. I mean, I got the room for now. Why not? Oh, do you follow the guy on Twitter who's like a Battleborn super fan? He does a shit ton of Battleborn fan art. I don't know. What's his name? I used to follow Mr. Solus, but he's more of like a troll. He's been going through the Battleborn withdrawal for a long time. The morning of Battleborn, and I kind of wish he would. I feel bad for him because, like, you know, he's one of the fellow Battleborn fans and stuff. At the same time, it's like, dude, you got to move on. You've got to move on. It's over. It's over. Like Bea? Okay, probably. I think I know who you're talking about. She actually draws it. Shit. Yeah, Battleborn has players like that who refuse to move on. He's kind of trolly though. Like Metamars had to block him on Twitter and shit. He's kind of insulting. He'll call me like a decent streamer and shit. It was like, oh, okay. I'm okay. I'm standard. You know, this thing goes to 2K, not Gearbox, and not to us. We were okay streamers, decent, till we had to stop doing Battleborn content.
I beseech you to please let me have my old job. I'm sorry I abandoned you in your time of need.
How did he abandon them?
Thank you, your mercifulness. Thank you. As atonement for my hurtful actions,
Sure.
I now offer you 7 quintillion Becco wafers.
Okay. That long delayed K. Nah, it's already over. We only played Battleborn, right, for 1,000 hours, right? That's all I found about this playthrough. Is like, I literally do have well over a month of playtime in this game. So some of like the stuff is... Yeah, I'm gonna go off that topic because it's not worth it. Yeah, I mean, well, like Battleborn. All right, Battleborn. Let's talk about streaming Battleborn. It was going down to 20 viewers total. If you're lucky, there might be 20 to 30 people in there. Unique views were down to 10, 15 at max per stream, which means there's 20 to 30 viewers in there. Oh, hold on.
Will start to trust me, perhaps even love me. Then one day, he'll tell me I'm the son he never had. And as he leans in to hug me, I'll give him a swift punch to the grundle, single-handedly winning the war, saving Pandora, and finally earning me the adoration I so clearly deserve. My plan is flawless. Unless someone finds this echo. I gotta find a place to hide it. This patch of sand looks good. Sand hides everything. Good old sand.
Anyway, all right, 20 to 30 viewers at maximum. If you look at your stats after you stream, you'd have 10 to 15 unique views maybe, which is a really bad sign because it means that the people you're getting in there are the same old people, which is great. You have a community and everything, but if you want to grow your stream, if you're taking this even remotely serious, that's not good. That's not good for you. You're not going to grow. You're just going to be treading water. And not only that, I mean, if you feel like people quit on the game, I've got every achievement. I've got, like you said, probably 1,000 hours. I've played something like 5,000 multiplayer matches. I've got like 13,000 kills. I've got every character mastered. I've got all the supports to rank 15. I'm maxed out my level. I've got like 2 million tokens. I fucking beat it. I beat that game. If there were still people who played it online, I would still jump in the lobby and play some multiplayer because it was just fun. It was a really fun game. But, you know, it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you quit because you're clearly not going to grow on Twitch if you stream Battleborn, this was, 3 years ago when it was still viable to even do that. you're a fucking quitter. You're a sellout. You gave up on it because you were playing the numbers. Or you never really played it. You were only there to get a short-term boost to your numbers because you knew not a lot of people streamed it, but there were still some viewers, and then you moved on once you had gotten your fill. And even though yourself, Adam, Ashton, something, none of us did that. Because Battleborn died, a lot of us streamers and YouTubers got blamed for the situation. That was the first group of people that were attacked. Like, oh, you're quitting. You're a bunch of quitters. How could you quit? No wonder they're gonna move on. Dude, we don't make up the patch cycle. Every day, some jackass attacks me on Reddit. What happened on Reddit, Adam? What am I missing here? There's obviously a path around this. Oh. It's just a fucking straight line. Wait, wasn't I already over here, though? This looks explored. No, it's just another echo.
When you think murder, think Marcus Munitions. 2 words, my friend. No reason.
Someone stream supported pub stomping 3 or 4 people. I was never played with before. Oh god.
Marvelous news. While foraging in an
You just can't win for trying with that game. Not when things got to the end.
Strange illness. When I explained I was a scientist, their leader welcomed me with open arms. He was most curious about my research into biodomes. Before I left, he asked that I inspect the health of his men and ease what suffering I could. Apparently, they survived a mining accident of some kind. This is Colonel Hector of the
Legendary.
191st. Corporate command has recognized our sacrifices and promised us a backwater
So he's on
base
Dole.
far from any battle theaters. Got the location of our new post today. Brass says it's a paradise. The planet's name is Pandora. Sounds nice.
Then a guy called me out on private PSN checker for pub stomping with followers, saying, "Oh my god, felt good wrecking me." And then people called him out. Some dude backed me up, found him at a friend pub stomping and farming people. So you lost a match to him? But then he's like, "Oh, you're pub stomping? How can you pub stomp someone you lose to?" Kind of is the opposite of a fucking pub stomp, is it not?
For ya!
This is an area that feels a lot like the pre-sequel. Endemicist. These feel a lot like dull mercenaries from pre-sequel. We should have been up. That guy, I can't believe he even lived through that. Just playing with followers, man. This was the mission I missioned yesterday, was right from the pre-sequel. Okay, nice. Yeah, it's like the exact same area even. This is like when you're early in the moon base. These guys are fucking strong. Look at that. That's why they got these huge ass shields. They do a lot of damage. Oh, they resist explosive. That explains that a little better. They've got some new lines. So we fought Dahl twice now. We fight Dahl in here, we fight Dahl in pre-sequel. And what do you know? We're fighting Dahl in pre-sequel-esque areas. I haven't seen anything though that tells me that this was like part of the canceled pre-sequel DLC, because I've not seen one single new asset. I'm seeing a lot of reworked assets, which is fine and what you have to do, and they've done a good job at that, but I'm not seeing anything new. I could see that the pre-sequel might have been planned DLC, and maybe this was the direction they were heading before it was decided pre-sequel would be a standalone title, but I'm not seeing anything that's like hyper space adventure I would say that no assets probably actually exist for that DLC. It probably never got made. I mean, that's the expensive part. The concept art is not the expensive part. You and I could do concept art. It's making the concept art a reality that's pricey. Yeah, this is the fucking pre-sequel. This is the, this looks like the area when you're early in the base, and then this is the, basically the wildlife exploitation preserve from the pre-sequel.
Cassius, you skag suckling traitor. You could have had a spot in paradise. But there's no room for cowards in the new Pandora. Let's see how.
So this is a guy that, as per usual, was betrayed by Doll and reacted in a very extreme fashion.
I can fix this. Oh, 1 moment.
Yeah, that's the third most used one, is the pizza box. This is kind of like Bioshock right now. It goes the pumpkin, by far #1. Then the Marcus bus. Then the pizza boxes. And then maybe these crates. But we'll see. Yeah, but top three most reused assets. The pumpkin, the Marcus bus, the pizza boxes. Probably fourth, this bottle of water.
Still be safe to traverse. Make your way to me, Vault Hunter.
Okay.
Decontamination complete.
Hit the kill! Concentrate power!
Money doesn't matter. Dude, it still kind of matters in Borderlands 1. I think it's going to matter in Borderlands 2 with the SDUs, depending on how big they let you have the SDUs. I really hope backpack space is bigger than it's ever been. If this is the biggest, best looter shooter ever, I want a lot of backpack space to carry this shit, and a lot of bank space. I hope it can solve what every other game seems to be not being able to solve, which is just have the fucking things be basically a texture asset. Just have them be a line in a file somewhere with, like, I don't know, a key, and when you have the, when you go to actually load it in your game, that's when it takes up the room in memory, but other than that, it's basically just a list. I mean, that's what old games did. You could have all kinds of inventory in Fallout and old school RPGs.
Green hills, potable water, not being clawed to death. Shoot, I'm starting to believe in myself. Pandora, here we come.
Yeah, this guy got betrayed by Dole. Dole is considered the worst corporation. They fucking enslave people, they murder, they torture, they conquest, they destroy. They're just straight up evil. What's it take to get ads to support you? I'd have to be partnered, wife. I'd have to be partnered. Best way to support the channel, if you really want to support the channel, is to... I'm not sure if you'd be interested, but... to sub. Any streamer. Any streamer you want to support. Sub is always the best, and I'm not sure if you'd be interested, but you can do that for free via the Exodus. And on that page you will find free tips, free subs, free bit boss damage, just for playing games on your phone. It's also September, so subs are half off, but that's my spiel over. I still have my free sub from Prime. Do you still have Prime?